All right. And welcome back, everyone. It looks like we are not streaming live to Facebook for some reason. We're just going to click this button real quick and see why. For that, I tried to tag the go live. There we are. We'll give it a second to catch up. Perfect. And now we officially are live here on Facebook / live reality games, covering all the greatest and latest live reality games happening all over the country, all over the world, and in colleges locally, especially here in Boston. We are joined to recap season 4. Palamedes, not quite Palamedes, and I'm getting that from Haley every single time that I think about it. We are joined also by Austin. Austin's from Survivor Michigan, who originally did their cast assessment for Survivor Boston with myself and Nathan. Nathan has the night off. Austin, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here as always.
Also, we have a super special guest from season 2 of Survivor Boston, one of the best live reality game experiences, according to Austin. And Austin is a huge fan. So everyone, make sure you catch up on that if you have not. Spencer, welcome.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be here and talk about this crazy little show that I love with all my heart.
You made a special little guest appearance in the episode already. We have some shout outs for you. Austin is checking us out, and Carly as well.
Wow, I love both of them very much.
So as a heads up, if you have not watched the episode, stop watching this right now and go check it out, because we have a very special guest with us today. We do have, unfortunately, with us, Jess.
Hi, everyone.
Jess, we are super excited to have you here and to talk about your experience that seemed to be going so well, so quickly. You would join us live on Real Life Reality Games. So,
thank you so much for having me.
I guess we'll start with, how did you hear about this experience? We were just looking over the numbers. Emerson, the Boston college that we're at right here, is a little bit smaller than Michigan that Austin went to. Was it just like super popular over there? Does everybody know about the Survivor game, or how did you hear about it?
I mean, I found out about it from Spencer, from the mouth of the wolf himself. Spencer and I worked together, and I knew him from work, and he approached me about maybe coming out for auditions. And I'm an actor around campus, so I've done different kinds of films and TV shows, nothing quite like this, but I have, I think it's my worst character trait. I joke about it a lot, but I am unhealthily obsessed with reality TV, specifically reality competition dating TV, because that intersectionality is like boggles my mind. And I'm so interested in how reality games are produced and shaped and edited for us to get a story as a viewer. So coming into the game, like, I had a lot of passion for the subject, and I had a lot of friends who had played. I'm friends with Roz. Roz also worked with us over the summer, and she came out of, like, I don't know how much I can say about prior seasons, but she came out of last season being like
raving about it. That's what we can say. Like, Roz loved the experience, right?
Literally, wow. So I'm just so blessed that I had friends who approached me and were like, Jess, you're literally built for this. So thank you, Spencer, for literally roping me into this crazy experience.
Thank you for letting me rope you into it.
I was going to say, Spencer, was it easy to convince Jess to do this crazy experience, or how did that go from your point?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think it took a lot of roping in to do. In a very good way. I remember it was so funny because season 2 was actually still coming out like weekly over that summer. And so we were just like casually watching it like as a staff. It was our weird staff bonding where we were like, let's watch Spencer make a fool of himself on this YouTube TV show. And so it mostly just kind of came out of a natural conversation of like, Jess, you'd be really good at this. And Jess was like, I would be. And we were like, yeah, you should go out for season 4. So it all worked out perfectly, really.
And now here we are.
Maybe not perfectly in the placement, but Jess, you seem to have a great time.
I did. I certainly did.
Let's see. So I guess we'll kick it back to when we first started, when we first saw you in the competition. there was a Temple of Risk challenge you played. Episode 1, you were gung-ho. You were one of the first people to step up. What was your thought process of taking that first challenge? Like that first temple, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Panic. First of all, panic. Fight or flight. In that moment, you're like, first impressions. That room is everything. And you can see like you can see in everybody's intro videos as it's saying like their names. I'm in the background of like everybody's video like like no joke. Because I was so I was trying to read how other people were reacting to the Temple of Risk, and a solid number of people stepped forward. And so because I felt other people's like physical impulse, I was like, okay, well, we're doing it. Like, what, did I come here on day one not to play? And like, that was, again, my competitiveness that I probably shouldn't have listened to, because if I hadn't gone out for that first challenge, maybe I could have laid lower from the beginning. Like that was definitely a conscious decision on my part that I made. Like, and you can see in the footage, you can see the cogs turning. I'm like, do I though? And that's, I think, one of the funniest things about me is like watching me back. I think I'm so easy to read, but it's only because I know my own tells. And so watching other people watch me play and being like, oh, like they're an actor. Like, I can't trust anything they say. And I'm like, here's the thing. Most of the game that I played was 100% genuine with most people. Like, I am very good at finding ways to honestly create the situation. And that's, I feel like, what my strength was. But, like, watching that first moment, I was like, why did I do that? Because I wanted to prove it.
It almost left you in a little bit of a sticky situation there, which is the name of the challenge coming up in episode 3. But you didn't fare so well. You were coming in with a background in competitive sports, and throwing a ball was maybe not one of your strong suits.
You know, I played a lot of soccer. I will say a lot better.
You should have kicked the ball. That's
right. What were the rules where you couldn't kick it?
That was not a rule, and I didn't genuinely think about that in the moment. But I will say those, like, I would get it into the basket, and they didn't play a lot of these shots. But I was getting really frustrated about the fact that it was bouncing out of the basket. Like, I would get it in, like my aim was good. I just couldn't like get it to the point where the motion of it didn't continue. It's trickier than it looks. Those little trash cans.
But that did leave you to be picked up on a team. You didn't end up getting that disadvantage, which was pretty nice.
That was very nice. Sorry, Marlon. I love him dearly. Woofed him on day one, but it was not going to be me.
But he hasn't sat down with us yet, so a woof to you, I guess it would be.
Yeah, I guess woof to
right.
It's really on me. Marlon played a way better game than I did, because he actually is one of the chillest people I've known. Like, at Emerson, period. His energy is so laid back, and so nothing he says feels like initiation. It's like a very good talent to have in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to play with Marlon, just because I know it would be the most like casual, strategic conversation. Like, I would feel so little pressure.
Well, in the episode, we did see him most recently talking to Max, and Max was the person who chose you to be on his team when he got picked in the schoolyard pick initially. Did you know Max at the time, or did you just have a strong feeling he was going to pick you? Or
Max's little thing next to his name that says he's the smartest idiot in the room is absolutely correct. I've known Max from class. I've had class with him before, and so I like knew him tangentially. I wouldn't consider us to be friends. Like, we never really hung out, but we had mutual friends. And so I feel like in that moment, Max was definitely looking for people who wanted to balance because that team was already so stacked with people. I think he was clamoring at any kind of connection that he felt like he had.
Gotcha.
And you can see him do that with every other relationship in the game. He's just trying. He's grasping at straws because no one takes Max seriously in this game. And I love him. But coming in on that first day, people could really read that in him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who you picked to be on your team?
I think I picked Swetha. I was allowed to pick because they did this weird binary picking thing where it was like the quote girls pick the quote boys. And I'm like, I don't fit any of that category. Thank you. So watching it back and them being like, you can pick whoever you want. I'm like, that is very on brand. And I will be taking Swetha. Because I figured Swetha already knew Swetha came in with Dustyn. You hear everybody talk about it like day one, like everybody clocked that, which was not smart on their part. They did not try. But because of that, I was like, I know I can get in good with Dustyn. And if I pick Swetha, it is a means for me to establish that I wanted to be with her specifically. And so that I was trying to form that to meet with Maddie, who also worked with Spencer and I, and we came into this game having come like from watching with Spencer and being like, we should go on this. And secret tea.
We love that tea.
You don't get to see it because I didn't make it long enough for it to be relevant. But I was meeting with Maddie cross tribes because I was like, I know this is coming, and I know you're working with Swetha, and I know I'm working with Dustyn, and if the four of us, because I felt like that could absolutely dominate, and then I wanted to hopefully at some point flip that because I did not think I would come out on top of that quad at all, like in the slightest.
It's so interesting. And then, so you were kind of probably feeling a little bit comfortable in your team, although they, silly production people, they throw that big twist in. Congratulations, you're switching teams now.
Yeah, it's rough. And I know that because I'm a person who makes a very strong first impression, and I know that because I'm an extrovert and because I knew a lot of people in the room already, I think my name is easy to know. Even from the beginning, I think my name is easy to know. And I think Dustyn and I, you can tell, again, from other people reading that room, neither of us hide it very well, that we're like good at what we do. I don't think it was possible for Dustyn to fly under the radar because of his just like social persona within the college. His like social status at school is just too high for him, for people not to know. And he was playing with too many people that were in his circle that for people not to know. But at least for me, there was a part of me that was like, I want to work with Dustyn as much as I can, because if we keep each other in, I genuinely felt like we would each have lesser targets on our back because we can bounce around as long as there's not one of us, because then we're going to get ousted really quick. So I wanted as much as possible to keep Dustyn as a buffer, because I felt like I could always paint him, no matter how much of a threat I am, I always felt like I could paint him as a larger threat, but then also try to protect him. It's a very weird thing that backfired, did not go well. And in the moment that I decided, in my last week, I like could tell that my backing Dustyn was causing too much distress to the people around me, which is why I said, you see it when I say it to Anthony, I was like, I will vote however you want to vote. Like, I want to prove to you that like, I am with you. I mean what I say. Like, Anthony, 100%, I never lied to him. Like, he genuinely was my number one. I meant to take him to the end. And I think because when Brady got voted off, Brady went to Anthony after and Dustyn after and like talked about me. And I think because Brady was hurt in that moment and he had heard that I was the first person to bring his name up, which I'm not sure if that necessarily was true because we were like working through options, but I take responsibility for bringing his name up if that is the case. But he was upset, obviously, because he put a lot into this game and he cared so much. And so he got in Anthony's head, and Anthony and I had a conversation about this, like when my episode aired, and I was like, I cannot believe it was you. Like, I genuinely, to this day, Anthony told me that Dustyn was the person that orchestrated it. And like, Anthony and I are like good friends. Like, he has never lied to me in my life other than this game. And I love him so much, but like finding out it was him and like not Dustyn, and Dustyn didn't actually find out about the vote against me until 10 minutes before tribal council. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts to me. And so the fact that I know because I talked to Anthony about this, he told me it was Brady coming to him, and Brady put a bunch of thoughts in his head about me being like a manipulator and like an actor, and that I was playing him, and that I was like playing everyone, and that I was this big puppet master, which is exactly what I told Anthony I did not want to be seen as. He knew. And Anthony to this day has been like, that was the dumbest decision I've ever made. I lost my game because I let you go. And I was like, yeah, because if you had fucking kept me, I would have backed you till the end. And like, you really cut a number here because I can do damage. Like,
I was curious too,
because
he said it in a confessional that he kind of takes back what he didn't want Brady voted out. Like, he was listening to you, Jess, during that, and maybe he should have got Austin out instead. And we'll never know how the scenario goes. The coulda, woulda, shouldas, but.
If I had let Austin go, like if I had genuinely just let that like long game in my head not play my short game, which is why I got kicked, then like I genuinely feel like this would have played a lot differently.
Because this whole scenario of you going home because you were trying to protect him too much, that would never have happened. He would have been gone out of the picture, and you probably could have got a little bit further.
Definitely. It was a detriment. I thought it was, up until that point, beneficial. And then the second I perceived it as being a complete detriment to my alliance, I flipped. And then Austin heard I flipped, and he was like, well, I'm going to vote you right back because I heard, you were voting for me. And I was like, that was because my hands were tied. Like, I never wanted to do that, but this game is shenanigans, full of shenanigans.
That's the Survivor shenanigans. Like, that's could be the next alternative title. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just demystifying a little bit of stuff. So Jacob chimed in. He said it was really hard to track down exactly who said Brady. So it could have been you, could have not been you, totally could have been you. And it sounds like from your perspective too, like you might have been the initiator.
I definitely know I hate the word manipulated. When I heard Anthony say that I manipulated him, it like genuinely got under my skin. Like I never once manipulated him. I talked out options. We talked out options. Like, the idea that I forced him into voting in a way that he didn't see right for his game is ridiculous, because my senses were absolutely right. Brady had half the idol. Brady was playing the long game. Brady needed to go. I sensed that from one. Yeah. And the second he was so willing to throw out Austin's name in front of so many people in our tribe, when he just got obliterated in Capture the Flag, I was just like, you are a problem. And I sense that there is deeper things. You have deeper things. And I was absolutely right. So I do not take back that gameplay at all, because I do think that was the right move in that week. Because had Brady been able to vote in the minority, and he would have gotten that full idol, he would have been a much bigger problem later.
I think Jackie said it in one of her confessionals too. Like, if Brady had gotten it, or Brady said something that made her skeptical, and she's like, he could be a big threat later on. So.
Yeah, he leaked that really quick. He let that slip to someone that he was not working with. So I find that quite peculiar. But also, just like, if you're slipping that kind of information, I don't know. That had to be a way more strategic move for me.
Thinking back on that first episode, Jess, is there anything you recall about the ball toss challenge? You were one of the puzzle solvers. Was that like a triumphant moment for you?
Absolutely. You can see it in my little intro video. My hug to Anthony. We are the puzzle solvers for our group, and like, my hug to Anthony is like, I'm so glad that that's my little thing, because it's so genuine. Like, that is a true feeling that like we in that moment like got the first win. Like, Anthony and I, like, our team was behind, and Big H was pulling massive weight, because I think it was Anissa and Hallie, I can't remember who the other person was, had the cardboard on my team, but they were just absolutely whiffing it, had zero coordination. Our side was further away. I had to sprint further around the fence, which is a disadvantage to our side of the team. And we also had an incline on our hill. And so we had these balls that were going up hills where it's like they got a flat. It was very rigged.
You showed them though, so
I for sure
Yeah.
did. You can see me
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, you're sweating.
Yeah.
But I felt very good because I was the person who finished the puzzle. So I felt like even in that moment where I was like, okay, I know I'm showing myself as like, okay, I'm a little bit of a physical, I'm a little bit of a mental, like they're going to start to piece things together if I do too much too soon. And like, I remember in that moment when they were explaining the challenge to us, they were like, okay, now you have to decide like who's going to be where. And like, I immediately, it's just my instincts. I immediately am like, okay, who's good at what? Like you do the, and like, I immediately was the person orchestrating and I was like, shit, I've got to stop doing that. Like, because I know that like, that's just the type of Spencer can attest. That's just the kind of person I am. And I want everybody to be excelling in what they feel best at. And so Anthony and I taking that last step was very intentional. And so when we got that, when we were like, we're in a good place because our team thanks us for like keeping them out of that situation, you know? So, but that's kind of that challenge.
Anissa is also chiming in. Jess, you rocked that challenge. You killed it, actually, according to her. So,
Oh, Anissa, I love you. Oh, wow. I love her. She's the best.
So you survived the first week, or per se the first 3 days, however long this first week goes. Madison goes home. Any surprises? I know Anthony was actually Madison's roommate,
Yes.
which we come to find out on the next episode. Were you kind of surprised about Madison going home as well?
I was also in class with Madison. I had a class
Oh, okay.
with her. So I did know her. And when she got voted out, like 2 days before, she came up to me in class and she was like, I have a sinking feeling about tribal. And I was like, don't we all? Like, I feel like that's the game. It's the first
Except
time.
for Anissa. Like, Anissa called out the next
Yeah.
round. Yep,
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
She said, safe queen, I'm good. Like,
That was epic.
and power,
Yeah.
power. I applaud her. I wish that could be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Madison going home, you were surprised. She
Oh my
kind of
God, yeah.
had some
I
feelings.
feel like I kind of had the suspicion I didn't think that they were going to let Anna go because of that situation. And Anna is her first impression is like hard to read. I knew Anna because she's a theater and performance major. So I knew like her big and like I knew a couple people that she like lived with. And I was like, I feel like they'll want to keep her as a pawn because she's easy to read. And so I wasn't surprised that they flipped on Madison. And seeing her afterwards, I was one of the first people on my team to know. I'm sure Anthony was the first because they went home together. And then right after she told me she got voted out, Anthony texted me and was like, hey, I have something to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had me come over to his room and he was like, so I was working with Madison because we live together. She is here. And then she came in the room and I was like, hi, Madison. And she was like, yes.
That's funny.
So I was a little gooped that they lived together, but I was not surprised that they temperamentally, especially our friends, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess next episode comes around. The next Temple of Risk you don't really take. You don't really participate.
No, I decided that because I did the public one that I was like, I'm not risking the private because if at any point they decide in this Temple of Risk, because we've never seen this happen before, if they are going to release the names of the people involved, they never specified that. And so I was very terrified of playing too hard too fast, which is exactly what happened. But me not taking that Temple of Risk was purposeful in an effort to lay back a little lower. In hindsight, I should have not done the public one and done the private one later.
I don't know. Spencer, Austin, do you think you would have taken up on the Temple of Risk challenge per se?
The first one, probably not. Because I mean, yeah, no, I think if you're already making a big first impression, like I think I probably ended up what I would have probably. Then it kind of would have put maybe a little more target on my back. The private one, yeah, I think, especially knowing now what it was and knowing it was like the unscramble, which is something I consider myself pretty good at, like that would have been like easy. But once you get that kind of power, right? You're like, oh crap, do I tell someone about it? Do I not? You see Brady like goes to Big H, he's like, hey, I have this half of an idol. But I probably would if it was private and it's like it's pretty early, you know, you could definitely set yourself up. Yeah, I probably would have done it.
Spencer, are you a pretty big risk player?
Okay, see, now I don't know about that. And it's interesting as well because I wasn't there for first day of my season. I wasn't there for like the opening day. So I think that would have definitely played a big factor in it. Just, you know, I can't imagine like what the vibes are that you're talking about, Jess, like just those first day, like tension and jitters and everyone kind of sussing each other out. And so to imagine doing a challenge on that first day that is all about just, you don't have to do this. This is purely just an opportunity for you to suss out your competition. I don't think I would have participated in that just because to me, I'm like, that feels like you're setting me up for a trap, Jacob and Charlie. Like, I feel like either way, you're setting me up to be put under a microscope a little too much on this first day. So I probably wouldn't have done the first challenge, but that's just the nervousness of that first day. I don't think I would have done it. But the private one, I probably definitely would have done it just for the hell of it, just for the, it's in private, why not? If I make a fool of myself, whatever.
And that was the smarter decision. And I guarantee you, I would have been way better at the word unscrambling than I would have at that ball tossing game. I would have been so good at that word game.
But I also can't blame you for, or anyone who participated in that first challenge, because there is also a big part of me that, you know, if you're weighing the risk of it, it's like kind of what Austin was saying too. It's so early in the game that it could be a huge detrimental factor, I guess. But at the same time, it's the very first challenge. Yeah. People weren't even super in solidified tribes yet, you know, so there's so many things that's like, at the same time, this seems like a challenge that maybe I could risk it to participate in. So I at the same time, I totally see where you and everyone else are coming from for wanting to do that first challenge.
It definitely felt like in that moment that the only thing that I was risking was my game. I wasn't risking anyone else's. And that's, I think, a really important thing with these Temple of Risks is that the detriment to the team is a huge aspect, that you are risking your team's success for your personal gain. Whereas in that first challenge, there was nothing at stake. And I was just playing for me. And so I felt more okay in taking that risk from a calculation of myself as opposed to how it was going to affect other people's outcomes.
Now, before we get to the next challenge, I know you won the first one for the team. It's usually a little bit more laid back if you're comfortable. Did you find yourself a little bit more laid back, or were you still reaching out and still playing the game as hard as you are perceived in the series, I guess?
Woof. I mean, I guess there's no way. I'm such an overthinker. There is no way to turn my brain off. I think one of my biggest weaknesses is that I'm an external processor, and I think needing to talk. I love communicating. I love people. I'm such a people person. I love to talk to people. I like want to know. I want to be involved. I wanted my ear in a lot of rooms, and so I was definitely talking to people because I'm very good at talking to people. Like I'm very good at just because I'm kind. I love people, and so I just, even if it wasn't, hey, let's like talk, it was like, oh, do you want to go get food? Like, and even giving that kind of, you can see how players like Hallie get really distanced when they live off campus and they're not engaging in those kinds of like, well, everybody's, you know, me, Big H, and Anthony are all in Colo. Like we all live in the same dorm. Like, oh, they see you in the elevator. Like, oh, do you want to come over to my room real quick? Like I heard something.
Yeah.
It became very, very easy for me, especially with Big H and Anthony, to become like a centralized location. And so I would have them over a lot, like, and I would make them tea. And I'm like I'm a big caretaker, and I like making sure everybody's good and comfortable, and like having them in that space and just even talking around the game or just about things not even tied to it, I think is very important as far as like creating the social structure that is required of such an interconnected group of people that is this cast. This cast, I maybe this is just me speaking because it's my season and maybe I'm biased, but this cast in particular is nuts. Like the producers, to me. Anyway.
Can I say Jacob sent me I think the day before filming started, Jacob just sent me a text of this is the cast list, just so you know. He knew I was going to be out filming the next day. He was like, just to get you excited, here's the cast list. And I literally freaked out, Jess. And just for I fully was just as an Emersonian, just as someone who goes to Emerson, not even as a Survivor Boston alum, just reading that cast list, I was like, this is a crazy stacked, crazy competitive, crazy dynamic, just personalities. I was like, this is going to be a crazy season, just seeing that first cast list. So you are not alone in thinking that, Jess.
And the thing is, it is. I cannot wait to watch the rest of this unfold, because hearing about it after you get eliminated, there's a Slack group chat, and I didn't find a lot out through that group chat, but talking to people who are still playing, it was like, man, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
There is kind of such intense schadenfreude that's just oh, it's not me.
It's you just, I don't have to deal with it. I can just watch on the sidelines now.
Yeah. And the thing is, maybe this is oversharing or this isn't relevant to the game, but I was in a long distance abusive relationship during the entirety of filming for this season, and getting taken back to that specific place in my life is very weird. One, also because I'm identifying as a woman and I'm using she her pronouns, so watching myself get misgendered constantly is also really crazy. Watching this back, especially because the world has changed so much, and to be watching this little bubble of just a privileged fuckery is what I'll call it. But it was such a gift to be a part of. I don't even know where I was going. Why did I start on this tangent?
No, I think, I mean, when you watch something like this, and you go through all of that, the trauma the game puts you through, the trauma your life is, and you see that again, it's tough. But I mean, you remember the good times you had.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fun of it, and that I think is the greatest gift. That, at least for me. Yeah,
for me, it's the people coming out of this cast and having had this experience with this specific group was such a pleasure, especially before Austin and Swetha and that senior class graduated. They were such huge icons, and I look up to them and admire them, and now respect them as friends so much. So getting the chance to play this game and really love it as fiercely as everyone else in the room was a really cool experience. And even through all of the experiences that I was going through, and the reason that I missed I don't know if you catch this, but in my third episode, I don't compete in the challenge. I'm not there, and that's because I was flying home to break up with my toxic.
Oh, wow.
And so going through that negotiation at a distance, and then coming back into this, I was I don't even know how to I don't even know where I stand with anyone. I don't even know where I stand with myself. And so coming back in and talking with Anthony, I was I expect my name to be thrown out. I expect that. But what are people talking about? And Anthony was yeah, you, Hallie, Austin, whatever. Nobody really knows. Things are up in the air. And that's when I was I need to set this shit straight. I need the people who are down for me to be down for me. I need to solidify that. And I perceived that I was trying to play too nice with everyone. And I want to be nice, but I needed to be more selective.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to watch how my outside life was affecting the inside. And I there's no shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I wonder what it would have been to play out as a non-binary person, getting to be fully comfortably myself and not feel I have to put up that mask. and to not have had that relationship being something that I was also having to negotiate on like a virtual space, but it's all interconnected and everybody's got their lives. Like everybody in that game was busy bees. Like I was doing shows on shows on shows. Like everybody in there had schedules of like the literal devil. So I cannot believe that we all were together for as much time as we were.
Now, talking about that non-binary term that you use in your, I don't know, personal label or whatever it's called in your little introduction thing where it says your name.
Lower third, sort of all those.
Exactly. Yeah. What does that mean for people out there that maybe are watching this or listening that aren't really familiar with the term?
Sure. So my name is Jess. Hi. I always like to introduce myself because I'm different than a lot of people that you may know. And I experience myself as a person as so much larger than what we consider to be the constructs of gender. Like, I think I am massively more expansive. I think we as people contain multitudes. I think I, as a person, am a shapeshifter. It's my job as an actor to be a vessel for other people and their stories. And that's been something that's been very true for me in my whole life. And it's part of why I'm like so socially adept to other people. I'm so curious and I'm very empathetic and I care a lot about other people, and it's being present with them is really important to me. And I can't remember why I was going on this tangent. Oh my God, why?
But production actually reached out to the contestants and you were able to pick your little titles in your names. And that's what you decided on.
And I decided on non-binary, but didn't know it yet because that was the beginnings of my gender crisis, getting out of that relationship and then realizing that I was forcing myself still into heteronormativity, even though I came out as pansexual like years and years before. I realized that it wasn't a sexuality thing, it was a gender thing. And I was trying to force myself into a box that I didn't fit. And Emerson is a wonderful place to be able to explore that because there are so many gender expansive people that exist and so many people view gender in different ways. And I was taking a lot of classes on gender. And I had a lot of gender expansive people in my close social circles. And I think it was like maybe 3 weeks after I got voted off, I asked like my closest friend at the time to be like, can you start using they them pronouns for me? Like, I think I'm not a woman. And they were like, yeah, correct. And so there is so much more. If you're curious, look it up. If you're learning, there's so much to know and there's so many people to meet. And I personally believe that we are also individually, it's like our fingerprint, our relationship to gender. It's something so personal. And so I feel like there are as many genders as there are people in the world. Like, I don't think that male and female is how people see themselves. I think it's how they're coercively taught to see themselves or to see others. And it gives us grounds to relate to each other. But sometimes those labels and the stereotypes and the expectations that come with how society expects those people to exist in that form can just be oppressive and limiting and can prevent people from experiencing such a wider array of life experience.
Thanks for sharing that, Jess. And for anybody else that has questions, please just look it up or
talk to people. Talk to people that are different than you. It's the best thing that you can do.
Well, we're going to jump right into the next challenge real quick. Captured the flag. That was kind of compelling to watch. I created one of my favorite clips from you, Jess, in this. I've never created a GIF before, so I'm sorry. This is not like perfect or anything, but I just want to relive the moment. So in the challenge, it's capture the flag, and Max and Austin collide. You watch Austin, one of your closest allies, hit the ground, and you come back at Max. So let me see if this works. All right, if you can see this, okay?
I know what you're doing.
Oh, we can see it.
There's that. So Max, they collide, and you rip that flag from Max, slam it on the ground.
Revenge kill.
I was ruthless. Like, I remember I was like angry during this game. I was mad. Like, I was just, Finn kept looking at me and I was like, I am going to punch you. Like, I swear, if you even step, if you think about stepping over that line, I will fight you. Like, so I felt. And so in that moment, watching Austin go down, I was like, there is no option. There is only tackle. Like, there is only tackle. And I tackled 3 people in that game. They don't show all of them. But I like fully, I feel like I get taken over by like a sports demon that just inhabits my body and just goes, ah, and pulls all the strings. And then I have absolutely no control. There's just rage. And I just absolutely floored it to Max because I was like, there is no way that you are getting across that line without me pulling your flag.
I'm shooting a few comments out here. Austin says it's too much. Anissa is cracking up and crying, it seems like. And then caller also said Max has an experience after that. So I'm not too concerned that we didn't like see that, Carly. It looks like Jacob does have it. So maybe bonus footage later in the season. So
that's a secret scene for later.
But yeah, I just wanted to see that GIF one more. I was like, oh, yep, that's perfect. So
I'm so honored that that's your first GIF. Like, I'm so honored that this is what inspired you.
Don't worry, you got another one coming up when we get to tribal. So, so unfortunately, your tribe does have to go to tribal. It was a rough week. Austin takes it, and then you guys end up losing the challenge. So, thoughts on going to tribal?
That was rough. Losing that felt like gutting ourselves because we were coming off such a high from the week before. And we scored, I think, the first point in that game. Yeah. And yeah, the second Austin got hit, I was like, ooh, that's not good. Like, I was like, there wasn't doom thoughts immediately. I wasn't like, we're losing because Austin's not on our team, you know? Like, I love Austin, but like we had other people, you know? But it really, not having Austin really did it to us. I will say I wish he could have been there because we were fighting. I remember the look in his eyes. I remember.
Sounds like you held your own and you made up for it. So
well, I tried, you know, we all play the role that we can in that moment. And I was playing a lot of defense. I did not want to play offense, capture the flag. That is not I'm much better on making sure nobody gets past our lines than trying to figure out how to get across theirs. So I was very happy to tackle, you know.
And it really is such a blow to the psyche, like just seeing a member of your team, like no matter, you know, even if even if Austin was sitting on the sidelines, just seeing someone be hurt on your team is like,
and he was like, so, like I remember it like freezing. Everybody was like, "You have to stop!" Like we called it, and like we were all just standing there for a while, and like they were like, "We're gonna take him to like the ICU," and I was like, "Don't call it the ICU! Wait a minute! Like what?" And then they were like, urgent care. I was like, okay. Is he okay? Like, is he? And they like would not tell us about how he was doing. They like would not let us like. It was so funny, but he ended up being okay. Thank God. I was thinking about him the whole time, and like coming out of that, you're asking how I was feeling. We were walking away from that challenge and we immediately start filming and there's like 6 of us there. It's like everybody except for Jackie, I think. And Brady immediately just goes, time to vote out Austin. And I was like, you could not run your mouth quicker. You simply could not wait to say that. And that, I think, was the beginning of the descent of Brady because people sniffed that way too quickly. And especially after seeing what happened to Austin, like I know at least like Hallie and myself both had gut reactions of being like, I think it's wrong for like, I don't know what the game rules are, but I feel like it's like morally wrong for me to vote out Austin. I also personally didn't want to do that for my game, but I feel like that was a reason that I gave other people to not vote out Austin because I was trying to keep him, which again, we know doesn't work. But he's doing fine. He's playing. He's going. King.
It says stitches.
Stitches.
Ooh, I would
Use
that was-
that as
that
like a
was
way to
always get
endear
for
yourself
you.
to people. And like, yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
So you're a little bit more comfortable going into this next tribal. So comfortable that okay, my second time here. Here we go.
Here we go.
There we go. And I made it bigger this time too, but that I saw it in because we were watching live on YouTube when it airs. It does air live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure everyone watching at home to make sure you tune in and join us for the live comments. You were feeling a lot more comfortable. You knew how the votes were going. It was Brady going to go home.
Yeah.
I guess that leads us to the last week here. Week 3, episode 3. Spencer joins us for a quick little cameo.
Yes,
I
that was so
miss
funny.
him. The thing is, I come back and I heard that Spencer and Isabella came, and I was like, I literally feel gypped. I personally attacked that I did not get to see them because I live for them.
I remember standing there, like we were standing there looking at the bleachers. I was like, "Where is Jess? Where?
Uh-oh.
I know Jess has not been voted out yet. Where?
So you might have gotten asked like a really hard hitting question, like Isabella asked Zach. Like, in other words, is there anybody here that you hate? So, would you have done that, Spencer? You've just been like, Jess, is there anyone here that you absolutely want to see voted out right now?
Absolutely, I would have targeted you so hard, Jess.
Do it, and I would have loved that. I would have loved that. I would have eaten that shit up. I would have like, oh yeah.
Oh man, we were robbed.
The content that we did not get was truly me and Spencer interacting on this show, because if Spencer and I hadn't got to season, game over.
Talk about
game over. That would have been
game.
Yeah.
I don't know if this game could handle both of you at the same time. Like, just
like
I
can't even handle both of us at the same time.
True.
I can't believe we're in the same stream together. I don't know how this
I know,
works.
right?
The internet hasn't crashed yet. Gosh. Spencer, what were your thoughts about going into the challenge? Had there been a challenge like this you've seen before, competed in it? You and Isabella kind of got to like introduce the challenge. Like, what was your concept of it?
Yeah, so it was so funny because Jacob texted me like a few days before, maybe like a week before or something like that, just saying like, hey, Charlie and I aren't going to be around, but we still have this challenge scheduled for this time. Like, we're thinking of maybe bringing you and Isabella back as like just a fun little throwback moment, but also to practically kind of help us out. And so I was like, absolutely, like 100% we'll be there. I walk on, of course, Isabella, as we all saw, walks into camera as filming had already started, as she does. But so I had walked on like in time for filming, and Jacob and Charlie were there fully recording. I was like, so this wasn't really for practicality. We just wanted us to come back and make a cameo. Awesome. Cool. I'm cool with that. But yeah, it was so much fun. I'd seen this challenge or something similar to it, definitely somewhere. I don't know if it was like a real season of Survivor or maybe it was another college that I had watched for prep or something. I don't remember where I've seen this, but I feel like I've seen something similar to it before. So I kind of knew the gist of how to explain it. And I was so excited to see this group of people because, again, I mean, like I said earlier, even just reading this cast list before filming even started, I was freaked out because I either knew so many of these people personally or I knew just of them because there were so many big personalities. So getting to be there to not only just like witness filming happen of this crazy competitive cast, but to get to like lead the challenge in some capacity was so much fun. It was wacky.
So Jacob wanted to chime in there. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he was happy to be there, and I'm sure happy to see you.
Very happy to see him always.
And to answer the question, looks like it was from season 1 that we first saw the challenge at.
I was like, I know I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah, I was, like when you were saying, I was like, yeah, I've seen it somewhere. I don't know where I saw it.
Yeah, we get it, Austin.
Yeah, we get it.
We know.
So, Jess, do you think not being there really put a detriment to your team?
I think I would have been a really great asset in that challenge. I mean, I think I'm good at challenges anyway. Maybe that's my ego, but like, I think I'm good at challenges and I like to play. And I'm always very team oriented. So the fact that they did not hold hands, I would have been like, y'all, we got to hold hands. Like that is like an immediate, like so instinctual in me is to think about making sure everybody gets to the finish line. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that that was like not a thing, I was like, man, if I had been there, like, I don't know if Big H would have been running into the, like the dog part of the comments, like running, would not have let that happen to him. But I also feel like, I mean, I don't know how I would have acted in that moment because, again, I was trying to take a backseat at this moment. So I might have just let Anissa do what Anissa was doing. But I think I also would have been really good in that role because I'm a really efficient communicator. And I think I would have been able to help our team configure that puzzle pretty easily, being the person with eyes and words. I feel like I'm very, very good at that. And I've done a lot of exercises like that in like theater classes where like one person gets to decide things for the body and the body has to react to things. So, and I'm feel like there are skills that I could have maybe assisted with my team, but
your team did chime in saying that they did miss you. So they missed Jess. And I think even you said it earlier too, you were kind of the captain of the team and you kind of like led the team in so many different directions and kind of positioned people where they were strongest suited for it. And I think they probably would have excelled more with you there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, but then they voted
me off. So you have stuff going on.
Obviously, they didn't want me there that bad. I love you guys. I love you guys. Oh my god.
That is so true. So going in the week, I know personally you had a busy week, so you weren't able to commit a ton to the game, even though you've committed a ton already. Did you have any extra pull, or how did that week go, I guess, in general? Probably pretty crazy.
Chaos. I mean, there's nothing like the stress of that moment of like knowing that your name's out there. And like, I knew it would be happening probably about that time in the game anyway. So not being there and not being able to control how I was perceived in the challenge or being an asset to my team or like even contributing to whether we win or lose, like not having the control was a big hindrance to me. And I think me not being there affected my head game a lot more than it maybe affected like my physical game because I was so worried that was the reason my name was out there is that people weren't like feeling like I wasn't like committed enough to being there. Like if I wasn't, but it was like a very personal situation that I had to take care of. And like, once I got back, it was like, I was on the trail. Like I remember getting off the plane and texting Anthony that I was back on campus. I was like, are you in Colo? Like, where is Big H? Can we talk? Like I like day dot. Like, and then I was I met with Austin. You don't see my meeting with Jackie. I think I met with Jackie that week. I talked with her at some point. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but I think I was talking to Jackie. I met Maddie on Cross Tribal because I thought we were maybe heading into some kind of tribal swap. There had been mentionings of other people feeling like we might do like a pre-merge mid-swap because they swapped us in the first episodes. We were like, the fuckery is real. You never know what's coming. And so I was meeting with Maddie, and then I met with I feel like there was somebody else.
Well, you mentioned meeting with Jackie. I was surprised. Jackie seemed kind of like out of it this episode as well. She didn't seem...
Yeah, she doesn't get a lot of airtime. And I honestly couldn't tell you a lot about what she was doing at that point other than trying to back Austin. I know that she was definitely trying to follow. She was trying to follow.
Gotcha.
She did not want to initiate a lot. Whether that was reaching out to other people or giving her opinions about things. Like she was very not physically quiet, but quiet game-wise. And I know that was probably very strategic on her part, whether it was thought through about her, how much she wanted to be perceived, or just her being like, I think I just want to cool it for the beginning. Like if I can just, all of these other people, because we were playing hard. And so for her to just let me and Austin and Brady just, you know, she's fine. She was vibing. So I feel like I reached out to her to be like, I want to know what you think of me, because Jackie was one of the people that I did not know personally going into the game. And knowing that she was working with Austin, I was like, okay, I feel like I could have some pull, but I also don't know what Austin feels about me at this point, because I felt like he would be quicker to throw me under the bus if it meant him staying. And so I felt like that was the place that I needed to be at, because both of our names were out there.
Mm.
Well, it looks like Nathan too. Nathan is the other contributor here on Survivor Boston for live reality games. He did send some comments my way, and he was super surprised to see you go so soon. He was bummed that he couldn't be here to talk to you tonight because he had other things going on. But we have Austin too, so that's okay from our standpoint. So,
well, hi Nathan. It's nice to meet you, even though you're
it's been such a pleasure to watch you play, and just like hearing your story now and everything. It's so compelling.
Thank you.
And just, I really just loved watching your thought process really come alive, and seeing all the wheels turning in your head, like you said. I think you played really, really well. You couldn't get past people perceiving you as that ringleader.
Yeah.
I was rewatching the episodes earlier today, and it's like you say, I don't want to be perceived as this. It's like I don't want to be perceived as a ringleader, and I'm like in my notes, I'm like foreshadowing. She is perceived. They're perceived as ringleader. I'm like it's like it's so hard to like mitigate your threat level when you are a bigger personality.
Yeah.
And so you did what you could, I think. I don't know if there's anything really you could have done other than not back Austin, but that was a completely logical move for you to be doing because he was such a big shield for you, right?
Yeah.
And so
it made sense in that moment.
It made sense.
I thought I was doing it well. But
I mean, credit to Anthony, right?
Yeah.
And like seeing a way where he could kind of get some potential benefit from getting rid of you.
Yeah.
Sad. Who knows? Time will tell.
It seems like you just took a lot of heat from the Brady vote out too. Like Hallie was really scorned by that, and she thought you played her and everything. So
yeah, I mean, especially because I, from freshman year, had acting classes with Hallie. I think she expected me to be a lot closer with her. Because she didn't know anyone coming into this, and I knew everyone. And so me not telling her things, I think, was taken probably also more personally, which had absolutely nothing about how it had nothing to do with my relationship with Hallie outside of the game. Like it specifically had to do with how the numbers were stacking. And I did not feel that it was smart because I was already trying to align myself with so many people. And so she was rightfully so scorned, and it fell out of the loop, especially probably by me. And I remember in that moment trying to repair that relationship by having Anthony talk to her. And I was like, I feel like it won't come from, like, she won't be able to hear it if it's me. She's going to think I'm acting. Like, I know that she had lost trust for me at that point. And so in my brain, I was like, well, Hallie is the logical next. Like when I came back, I was like, I hope everybody wants to vote out Hallie because she's not interconnected with the rest of us. It doesn't make sense votes wise. She's a swing. Like she was not socially connected to the rest of everybody else's fuckery that was happening because everybody was trying to play their own little 2 3s.
It's 6s at some times too. Like everybody had those numbers at some point.
That really surprised me, that breakdown. It's like 2, 2, and 2. It's like, it's perfect. What could go wrong?
Everything. Everything, because paranoia is Survivor's best friend. The second anyone can make anybody else doubt anything about anyone else, it's over.
Yep.
And anytime you give anyone reason to, they will. And I gave them a little too much reason to, and I thought because of my relationship with Anthony and because I told him genuinely, I thought he could tell that I was being genuine with him, that I like wanted to go to the end with him, that like I had built up enough social standing at this point in the game to both miss the challenge and survive this week. I thought
you did too.
Yeah.
And Anthony really, it got in his head, and insecurity spilled onto Big H and Anissa, and that gave them, as him being perceived as my number one ally, because he was, for him to be like, I don't trust Jess, or like Jess is manipulating me. Like, of course everybody's gonna take to that like a shark on blood. Like, they're gonna sniff that out right quick and be like, well, I never trusted Jess in the first place. And Anissa being like, I can't read Jess because they're an actor. And I'm like, I knew that comment was coming. Like, I knew that was coming. I wanted to do as much as I could to make myself be in a position where I thought I could withstand the storm. But simply Anthony threw the big old wrench in that, which was his paranoia.
That's nice that you compared it with the storm, and that was the team. What it was
named. We did something similar in our seasons. We had a Tormenta was one of our tribe names, just like storm.
Lots of storms.
Yeah, lots of storms. My question kind of on that though is like, so did you know Anthony or Austin before the game?
Yes, I knew both of them.
Okay.
Anthony better than Austin, but I knew both.
Okay, so that makes more sense, kind of like why Anthony was thinking you were probably potentially more loyal to Austin than to him. So I was just like, at least from the edit, it seemed like you were obviously far more genuinely loyal to Anthony.
Yeah, I think anything regarding Austin scared the shit out of everyone, because coming in day one, people's Austin had a target on his back. Yeah. Like, there was no way to not have that. And so anytime, especially anyone powerful got close to him, people were like, absolutely not. You see it happen with Sweta. And that was very, like, me telling that to, like, there's like a shot in episode 1 of like me in the dining hall with like Brady and Anthony and
Big H.
And I was like, yeah, well, like, they know each other. And I just like so casually was like, oh yeah, they're just like friends. Mm-hmm. And Brady lost his goddamn mind. Yeah. Like, Brady was like, they know each other. And I was like, yeah, they're like best friends. They're like, they're like tight. And like, I knew of Austin, and I had the biggest friend crush on him. Like, I wanted to be his friend so bad. So like, coming into this game, like, I knew of him, and I like really wanted to like have that chance to like play this game with him. But I definitely tried to make it as clear to Anthony as possible that, like, win or lose, like, I did not want to cross him. Mm-hmm. Like, I genuinely, like, I love him so dearly. And we had just been orientation leaders together. We had come into this game, like, right after orientation. And, like, that was such a huge developmental moment for both of us. And he went on to become core staff, and I got offered the position and turned it down. But that was, like, such a huge foundation for our friendship that was already, like, in the process of blossoming in this moment. So coming into this game, it was like the perfect time for us. Yeah. Like, we had just established enough of a foundation that I was like, I know going in, like, I can trust you. Like, I wanted, like Brady was looking for in Big H, I wanted someone in the game that I could externally process and not have to edit myself. And I thought that Anthony could be that person.
Yeah. And then he backstabbed.
And then that completely backfired because he insecurity vomited all over Big H.
I mean, it happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the game does.
It's a tough game.
Yeah, I think if I were playing it again, the biggest advice I would give to myself is play a personal game. Mm-hmm. I think that there should be an aspect of my game that absolutely no one else knows about. If there is some things that I can keep to myself, that I can control from within my own brain, that I don't need to run by other people or try to, like, process outside of myself, I think I could play a lot smarter. But because I leaned so much on processing and gauging how other people felt, I think that became a little bit of a detriment.
Yeah.
Now, you use the term "if you play again." It's more like when you'll play again. Is that correct?
Yeah. Don't play me like that.
It sounds like you're ready to go.
Love it.
Oh, I have been offered many times to come back. My Boston has tried. Like,
are you still in the Boston area?
I am. I'm graduating this semester. I literally
Awesome.
am like finishing in a couple weeks. Thank you. And I will be in the Boston area. And if in my graduation woes and entering the void of this eternal universe, I decide that I need this kind of particular stress, I will I will send them a little email because I know they love that, and I would love the chance to play again. Eventually, I would, in some capacity. I think I'd love to play.
In some capacity, we'd love to have you too. We do have a group dedicated to casting, not just college-based survivors, but we do have live reality games casting all over the world. You can check them out at facebook.com/groups/LRG-casting. And there's a bunch of different ones. You can do Big Brother style. There's some original stuff going on with casting. You can do the traditional survivor, go out in the woods and kind of rough it. Jess is shaking your head.
No, I would love to go into the woods. I'm just thinking about like in a COVID world, like how does that work?
Yeah,
that's true. Most of the casting is looking further into 2021. There are some games that have adapted like the face mask. They do like the temperature checks. They qualify people by doing like the COVID tests a few days before the event, so on and so forth. And they take those pre-measures like that. But most casting is going into 2021, and we all have our fingers crossed for a great live reality game season coming up in 2021. Knock on wood and fingers crossed. And there's a cat that crosses your path. I don't know. So whatever you want to do, like,
under ladders.
Whatever good luck charms you want to throw at us.
Yeah, literally.
Manifesting that good energy.
You bet. Like after like playing a college game, after playing like an LRG Survivor game, you get that itch that doesn't go away.
It's an itch. It's an addiction. That's for sure.
And watching this back, I'm like, man, I really loved that. Like that specific escapism, like to just throw yourself into a world where it's just choices, people and choices. It's so interesting.
It's like the ultimate RPG.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
And especially, you're a big Survivor fan. It's like you hop right into your TV. That's definitely what I was feeling. So
very much so.
It's in such an insane thing. So yeah, I hope you get to play again.
Thank you. Mine was an insane season, so I'd be curious to see how I would play against a different lineup.
Yeah.
Because I think and this is true for anyone, but like if you were to take us and insert us in a different cast, our game would have been way.
I 100% agree with that for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, folks, as we wrap things up, Austin, any final comments for Jess or even Spencer? You were a big fan of Spencer's show, but Jess is especially here with us. So
you two are both absolutely phenomenal to watch. I mean, I won't spoil a lot of things on Spencer's end for you, Dustyn, but Spencer just is hilarious and is just absolute king.
I'm an absolute menace is what I am, but sure.
I love to watch it. You got me through many a tough time when I was playing Michigan. I would go back and binge season 2. So thank you for that. Hope you get to play again as well. There's an All-Stars on horizon. I don't know. Definitely.
Well, we can hope, certainly.
And just like I said, incredibly fun to watch. I'm so sad you were free merge. I know I put you there, but I was manifesting it.
Thank you.
I think we would have been fantastic allies if we got to play together. And I saw definitely a lot of how I wanted to play and how you played. And so, yeah, I think.
That means a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, like just you, and I think it's amazing on such, like you said, such a stacked cast. Everyone still stands out. And I think you stood on, much like, even in these first 3 views, you're like the upper echelons of this. Like you seriously made your mark. And I will definitely not forget watching you play.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I can be a real sap sometimes. But like seriously. And yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot.
batons in your corner.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Jess, I hope you are incredibly proud of your gameplay because I mean, seriously, like watching, I'm in a group chat with Jacob, Charlie, Jonathan from my season, Sarah Duvall, like Tony from season 3. There's a whole bunch of us in a group chat. And so I texted them after watching this episode and I was like, I knew who went home this week, obviously, and I still was completely shocked because, and it's a testament to your gameplay, Jess. Really, I mean, like we talked about this whole call. I think you did everything right. It's just mitigating threat level is sometimes literally beyond your control. It's how others interpret you, and there's only so much you can do about that. So I was blown away by your gameplay, and I'm so happy you got to play in the first place. It's exactly what I wanted to see happen. Wish you could have gone on longer, and I hope you get to play again because I think you can do serious damage in a game like this. So
thank you, my love. It truly was all for you. It truly was all for you. I played.
You made me proud.
That's all that matters. I can die happy. I don't care if I win, as long as I make Spencer proud. I will continue to do you proud. I hope I did Survivor Boston proud. Like, I loved being a part of this game. I wish I could have done it for longer. I thought I would be on for a little bit more, but I was honored to have made my mark on our first 3 couple episodes.
What a first 3 episodes, man!
What right out the gate.
Right out. Can't wait to see what's in store.
Oh
yeah, God. Buckle up, everybody. Buckle up.
Ready.
For those of you looking forward to the next episode drops this Thursday on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just want to take a shout out. Thanks for Austin, Jacob, Carly, and Anissa for joining us. I missed Carly's. There we go. Carly, you've been with us tonight. And for the viewers watching at home, don't feel shy. Give us your comments. I know there's a few of you staying a little quiet out there just watching and giving us thumbs up, which I don't mind at all. But make sure you check all the podcasts out for facebook.com/live-reality-games. We have a very special day tomorrow. We are booked solid. 7 o'clock, we have some episodes and a possible podcast, but especially 8 p.m., we are doing our first coverage of Live to Give. It's a great charity. We have a super special guest. I've even kept the special guest hidden from my podcasters. So they will have a surprise themselves and a face that you all will probably recognize. I can't say who it is, so make sure you tune in at 8 p.m. And then 9 p.m., we do have Survivor New York recapping theirs. But tonight, we are enjoying Survivor Boston. Episode 3 recap with the unfortunate latest boot. Jess, final last words here. Anything you want to take from this experience, from this whole capacity? Like, final thoughts. It's all you.
I truly just feel a lot of gratitude, and maybe it's this time of year, and like Thanksgiving is its own. But like the gratitude that I feel is very potent. It's what I'm left with, is like getting to have experienced this in the form that we did, and getting to have that moment and these crazy shenanigans captured on film, and to have had like teams of people like grueling and editing for like 2 years to make this content available. Like, I just feel very blessed in this moment, especially given the world that we live in and how much loss and how much there is to grieve. To have this central like nostalgia that's coming out every Thursday that I get to just throw myself back into and relive and discover new things, and having more answers is always good. But yeah, just really left with the gratefulness of getting to be a part of this and getting to work with the people that I did and be a part of this crazy stellar stacked cast.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Jess. As you said it yourself, like, Thanksgiving is in the air. So thank you, everyone, and we'll tune in next time.
Thank you.